بسم الله، السلام عليكم جميعا. مرحبا.
Sögur og mótvært er ókei. Einn þeirra sagði þetta hvítþvott væri kyrrð við og gerendur sluppu við að bera ábyrgð á gerðum sínum og meðal brotaþolar neyddust til þess að bera vitni og þannig ýfa upp sárin og áföllin sem brotin. Þolar ekkert að vopna sig á Gaza. Hamas-samtökin segja að Íslam er ekki sleppt þeim að stríðinu. Áfram bendir allt til þess að Ísraelsín sé að útbúa innrás í Rafah, syðstu Gaza. Þar hefur einu hálf yfirskip sem var hrakist frá ytri herinn. Ríkisráðið og öryggisráðið í Ísrael komu saman fundi í dag til að ræða þessi skref. Líklegt þykir að ekki verði af innrásinni fyrr en eftir að páska fyrir stríðið.
Buenas noches, sé feliz, bienvenida. Gracias.
Rannsóknarnefnd samgönguslýsa hefði gefið skýrslu þetta atvik. Gunnar Tryggvason, hafnarstjóri Faxaflóahafnar, segir það áleitna spurningu hvort hægt sé að takast á við mögulegt strand af slíkri stærðargráðu og að höfuðstæðinni í atviki. Strax í kjölfarið nefndum við til yfirvinnulag þessa fyrirtækis og þau taka þessu jafn alvarlega við og í kjölfarið á því samtalið ákveða að lækka viðurlögin metrum sekúndur niður í 8 þetta við ákvörðunum flottari. Vegna því fórum við í mikið afíkvöldum og sögum og skiptum við 30 bótt. Sagði Gunnar Tryggvason í samtali við Benedikt Sigurðsson. Grunnskólinn á Ísafirði og Guðrún Jóhann.
مرحبا. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. شكرا على الحضور.
In the middle that had a great level of recovery. Lines where human rights are violated by rebels. The people that they're concerned about the newcomer.
And I started paying attention to people in my early days of AA, because in my early days of AA, I put together about 6 months of sobriety, and this guy that had 15 years went out. And it knocked my socks off, because I said to myself, if this guy with this much recovery is going to go out,
then come in.
I'm going to be able to hang here a while.
مرحبا
And it
bienvenidos.
caused me a interest to pay attention to those people that had strong recovery. So I looked at people like old man Nick with 38 years sobriety, and Doug, who's got 25 years, and old man Neil with 55 years sobriety. And beautiful people that I want what they have. I mean, there's those people with 20 years sobriety, and man, they have the thing I want. They're miserable and they're grouchy, and I started paying attention to those people too. And there's some contrast, to the Nicks and the Neils and the Duds. Guess what? They'd always show up early. They never had to raise their hand to share. Sometimes they shared, and every time they shared, man, I was listening. But they were concerned about the newcomer. They talked about God. They had now each of them had different kinds of conceptions of God, and it made no difference. They had their own deal with God. And each of them had a take and an appreciation and a love for the 12 steps. So they talked about the newcomer. They were concerned. It wasn't just something that came out of their mouth. It was demonstrated by what they did. And whether they had the cleanup committee, they were all put up chairs. They all got early, and they all did these things. I can't kneel every day, go to a meeting. He had 52 years sobriety, and his wife had 52 years sobriety, and she died. And guess what he did? The next day, he's at a meeting. I don't know if that's ever going to come up for me. But I know if I ever have to walk through something like that, you can bet your boots that I'm going to remember Neil, and I'm going to say to myself, oh, Neil did this. I mean, I'm sure Nick will tell me, Richard, it's possible to just go to one meeting a month. That's all that's necessary. But because, Richard, you don't know what day that meeting is going to take place that you need to go to, you better go to a meeting every day, because you can't afford to miss that meeting. It's at a meeting that we hear things like old man Neil and walking through the tragedy, or my dear friend Randy, who was barely making $8, $10 an hour and struggling financially, and all of a sudden he landed a gig and he was being paid $200 grand a year. But the thing about that was he wasn't going to any meeting. He was working, 60, 90 hours a week, and he wasn't going to meetings. And 3 weeks into it, going from making $8 an hour to making $200 grand a year, and guess what? He stood up behind the podium one day and said, I had to quit my job. The sobriety is more important to me. He's my hero. He's my hero. And I don't know when that's going to come up for me, but had I not gone to that meeting that day, I would not be filled with that kind of knowledge. I don't know when those kinds of things are going to come up for me, but I do know they will come up. And shame on me for not getting to that kind of a message. We hear things at meetings. It's important. I tell the people I sponsor, you need to get to a meeting early. Look for those opportunities to be of service. Find your chair. Get centered in. Take the pulse of the meeting so that you can be fully present to the people that are the newcomers, to the people that take chips, so that you can really, by the time the speaker gets there, not me, but by the time the speaker gets there, you really can be present and hear what they're saying. Because life's too short. I mean, if September 11th taught us anything, it certainly taught me that. Life's too short. So I went to my sponsor and I said, 22 people, I think I should do a little more. Now I'm up to 20, 27, 28. I don't know what I'm sponsoring now. I'm behooved to do more, to give more. Because I don't come from that. I come from being selfish. Snatching all I can get out of the world. Where's mine? Where's more? Where's it now? With the curtains drawn and all the while I'm spiraling down. All the while I'm just trying to put together a case to exist, but it's not about living. And I stumble into the rooms of recovery first with AA, and then the same way that I stumble in the rooms of AA, I stumble in the rooms of Overeaters Anonymous, and I begin to find my way. The only difference between OA and AA for me was I had some knowledge coming into OA. And I knew that having sponsored a lot of people in AA, I knew what kind of sponsee I needed to be. And I took all my knowledge of AA and I said, it's important. I know a few things. I know the big book. I know the 12 and 12. I've taken people through these steps. But it was necessary for me, and I don't know, I didn't even struggle with it. I just intuitively knew that I needed to take my knowledge and put it on a shelf. Because my first sponsor never had any other program. He barely had 30 days, and he was my food sponsor. That's what they said. You need a sponsor, and there it is. And I had to become like Shaggy Dog. Which way did he go? Which way did he go, George? You know, that cartoon that used to come in on Saturday mornings, and that's the only thing he said. They go hair all over his face. Go to 3 meetings a week and call and commit your food. And da 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 da. And I didn't deal with it because I knew that I needed to be teachable. And you know, when I lost 90 pounds my first year, and I've maintained that for the last 4 years. And you know, at the end of my first year, you know, some of these old timers would come up to me and they'd pat me on the head. Oh, Richard, you're so excited. And oh, but that's right, you only got a year. And they pat me on the head as if to say, you know, wait till you get 4 or 5 years. You'll tone down. Uh-uh. Uh-uh. I don't tone down. I get excited because there's something to get excited about. These 12 steps are magical and powerful, and they work. They have the ability to pick up a miserable, wretched piece of a human being like me and transform me so that I can do the thing that I'm born to do, so that I can be my talented, gifted, beautiful self that God made me. And nothing I did or did not do ever changed that fact. All it did was diminish my ability to be used by God, in my opinion. You know, we bury our talents and our gifts. I say that you're here tonight and you're a writer, write. If you're an artist, draw. If you're a sculptor, sculpt. But we sabotage ourselves and we hide our talents. It's possible, let me just throw this out to you, and I could give you a chapter and verse, but it's possible to take anything and physically walk it through the 12 steps for the purpose of freedom's sake. So if there's anything that's sitting here, whether, you know, we come in because we got a problem with food, but anything, we can have the ability to walk through the 12 steps for freedom's sake. Absolutely. And gifts and talents are the same thing. We can have the ability to take those talents, physically walk them through the 12 steps and find freedom. And it all starts with step one, being done with the way that I've always done it, being willing to do it a different way. And so there you go. And, you know, people, the thing about sponsorship is, you know, it's kind of like having a guitar. Like what I have, God bless you. And what you're teaching is that you're willing to do what they do. I study guitar, or I used to study guitar, and a beautiful teacher would be able to take a thing and play it so nicely. And I'd say, okay, I'd like to learn how to play on key. And he'd give me a scale and a mode and da-da-da-da-da. And it made no difference how I felt or what I thought. And I would come back to him the next week and say, Richard, let me tell you, I'm a musician. I'm not a magician. And if you don't practice, I can't help you. You know, if you want what I have, you do what I do. And if you don't want to do what I do, it's okay, God bless you. But what it does mean is I'm not able to help you because I can only tell you what I do. And I only do what people have done before me. I came to tell you absolutely that if you're sitting here today and you're struggling with food, you know, and food, but, you know, people that are overeaters or undereaters or anorexics or bulimics, it makes no difference, really. I mean, having sponsored the people I sponsor, I can tell you that there's no difference between needing desperately to lose 2 pounds or 5 pounds or 100 pounds or 500 pounds. If the disease or compulsive eating has the ability to get right to the core of your soul and rip you to shreds, take you away from anything that you surely could be, ought to be, already are. Absolutely. So we come to the place that we're willing to give it a shot. I had to come to a place that I was willing to do whatever was necessary. And I said, you know, I'm going to get this thing in 30 days. I'll see what happens in 30 days. I'll do everything I possibly can do within those 30 days. And then, you know, if I want to go eat what I want to eat, then I will. But for these 30 days, let me just give this thing a shot. And I wasn't thrilled about it. You know, I don't do sugar. I don't do white flour. I mean, that's what they told me to do. And I didn't argue with it. I didn't know from Adam. I didn't know that I could challenge them on it. I just said this, and I said, okay. And what do I know? I know how to weigh 300 pounds. That's what I know. I know how to be out of bed, tying my shoes. I know that. Let me be willing to try something different. And in my humble opinion, somebody said, you know, Richard, if you say in my humble opinion, what that really does is give you permission to say anything the hell you want to say. My humble opinion. You know, we have a food plan. Yeah. We have a food plan, and we have the 12 steps. And when the food plan is followed, whatever your food plan is, don't betray that food plan. And journey through this 12 steps simultaneously. then you begin to tap into the freedom.
هلا هلو
Because I'll tell you one thing for me.
مرحبا
Journey through the step one.
شكرا.
It's not just a quick step. Clearly, when we get into an inventory,
ليش ما شفت؟
go and search our soul. We will be challenged to coat the nerves. I mean, food we eat not necessarily because we're hungry. We eat because at some level it coats the nerves and it makes us feel better. Like the alcoholic does the drugs and the alcohol that it coats the nerves. It allows them one more day to survive. And now we're challenging ourselves to look at things that we rather really not look at. All those skeletons in the closet and all the things, those horrid past that our behaviors and twisted ideas and thinkings, and now it's come to surface in an inventory. And how easy it is to change our food plans because we're not feeling good. It doesn't feel good to begin to look at this stuff. And why would we even want to look at this stuff anyway? Step one is about absolutely being God. Let me just go to step two. And I go into great detail about each step. But tonight I don't think I'm going to do that. But step two, just quickly, in my humble opinion, is about an interview process with God. If I manage a restaurant, that's what I do. I've been doing it for 20 some years. That's what I do. And somebody comes to me because they want a job now, they're late for the interview. Guess who's not going to get hired? Somebody comes to work and they're looking trash. Guess who's not going to get hired? Somebody comes to work and starts talking trash to me. Guess who's not going to get hired? Step two is an interview process for God. Because clearly we ran our show and we did such a wonderful job that we said to ourselves we had to fire ourselves. So now we've got to do an interview for a new general manager for our lives. So we interview God in step two. So I challenge you. I mean, who says that God has to be this punishing, horrid, lightning around type of God? I challenge you to challenge your thinking. Break outside that box. Who says that God couldn't be healthy? So I challenge the people I sponsor. Why not? Out of the back of your brain, come up with the most healthy conception of God. And what I know is that you take one step, God takes two. Take 10, God takes 20. And it makes no difference what you think about it. To the people I sponsor, they don't even have to believe in God. All they have to do is be willing to accept the fact that there could be a God, and clearly it ain't that. And if there could be a God, why couldn't that God be healthy? And if that God could be healthy, what would be the characteristics of that God? So let's clearly define what that looks like. So step two is in God. You said, okay, step three is really the therapy process of God. Step three is the ability to take a chill pill. All of our fears and anxieties, feelings and thinkings and dreams and we live in this healthy God that we interviewed in step two, that we hired in step three, and we take a chill. Because if God's the guy that's running the show and we're not, what are we so free? Now, if God's not running the show and we're running the show, yeah, we gotta worry. Because I know about me, when I'm running the show, I'm in a world of hurt real fast. Because Rick's trying to figure out, why are you looking at me like this? Why are you looking at me? Jeez. My job is not what you think of me. My job is not what my boss thinks of me. Absolutely not. I forget. Every night I love them. And there's nothing on it. There's nothing they can do. The only thing they can do is stay up and don't go with it on.
Yeah.
somebody said, well, I got the get a ride. Something else. Clearly, transported on my great and I shed the tears, and I remember reading this time and really thinking that, okay, shed a couple tears, said the stuff, let's get out of the good stuff, well, let's rock and roll. And my sponsor, the other day, Richard, what's not on? What's the one thing you're willing to take the brave? And as he spoke those words, man, it hit me like a ton. I knew what it was. And once you know it, then you can't not know it. You know. And I sat there in silence for 5 minutes, thinking of what I could possibly share in its place. And I couldn't share it. And then I sat there for another 5 minutes, thinking of how I could diplomatic. Like, let's call this part one of the process. I'll share this. And the only thing he said was to trust the program. And then I sat there for another 5 minutes.
شكرا على الحضور، شكرا لكم جميعا، وإلى اللقاء.